Hi, this is a short getting started tutorial for Graphman December 2022 version. We're going to do some basic pulling of configuration and show you how to do some basic manipulation and application of configuration. So here's the box folder I've been invited to. There's a README in here which shows me how to install Graphman. Effectively, I have to copy the assertion and touch a file to bootstrap the service. So in my development environment here, I'm using Docker Compose. You can see the assertion is there, and Docker Compose makes it easy for me to just touch that file and mount it on that Docker container, which I will now restart. Now on the client side, the other thing from that box folder is that Graphman client, which has this really convenient README file that shows me how to get started. Graphman client is a powerful Node.js based client, but you can also use the Graphman API in Postman directly. And here's where we include a Postman collection you can include in Postman directly. So back to the CLI, there's a config file here in which I'm just going to put in the address of the target and the source gateways that have Graphman for the CLI to work with. So the first thing we're going to do with this CLI is export the configuration of that dev gateway we were just installing Graphman on here. So I'm going to use the all query. Now let's take a look at the output file. You've got my bundle.json. As we use the all query, you can see that the resulting bundle contains the entire gateway configuration, and you can see the Graphman entity representation syntax here in a clean JSON format. You can see, for example, this JDBC connection here. If I want to change the URL, I can go straight in there. Now, configuration bundles are good when you're working with an API, but when you're working more configuration as code, what you want is an exploded version of the configuration. So switching between modes is really easy with Graphman. I can just use this command here, explode. So I'm going to explode the bundle file that came out of my previous API call. And I'm going to call this my repo. So that creates a directory structure under my repo. And under there, you can see the different folders with all the entities in their own JSON files. So for example, if I want to make a change to this JDBC connection, I'm going to call it my target database host name. I can also go into the My APIs folder here and just create a new API. And I'm going to just call it REST API 3. For the contents, I'm basically just going to copy from another API and change a few things to make it unique. Okay, now let's say that I'm done manipulating my configuration and I want to apply it back as a using the Graphman API. What I need to do is implode this back into a configuration bundle. So I use the implode command. It comes with Graphman, and I give it the exploded version, my repo, and that's just going to create a new configuration bundle. So here's my target gateway that I'm going to use to apply the configuration to. You can see it's completely empty except for that bootstrap Graphman service. You can see that there's no service, no policy, and there's no database connections on there at the moment. So now I'm going to use the Graphman client import command in order to push that configuration bundle that I manipulated into my target gateway. And now I can go back on my target gateway and do a refresh in order to see what's changed. And you can see all the policies, all the APIs have been applied. You can see that REST API 3 that we created from scratch there in our config as code mode is there, as well as that JDBC connection with the target host name that has changed. I hope this helps you get started with Graphman, and thanks a lot for watching.